All right, what's up, people? Welcome back. So, I got a major upgrade. I got a cool new camera and it autofocuses. So, haha, welcome to that high def life. I haven't done one of these story time videos in a while, so I thought it would be a little appropriate to do one. As you can see by the title, I'm going to talk about the last time that I smoked weed, or like why I stopped smoking it. The story is really embarrassing. And I don't know why I'm telling it on the internet, but I've like told it to people in real life and I regret it every time. So without further ado, let's get in this fuck. I forget how to YouTube. Without further ado, let's get into the story. Okay, the story takes place at the beginning of this school year. So like last August, or like not this school year, you know, the previous one that just ended. It was like last August. It was the night before the first day of the semester, like the fall semester. And I was like going through, I never really was like I've gone through phases where I like smoke, I don't smoke or whatever. And I was in a phase where I was smoking at night, like just like to go to sleep or whatever, I don't know, to help me rest well. And I guess, I don't think I was nervous for the first day of school. Like, I don't really care. It's not like it was like a new school or anything. Like I already went there for 2 years. So yeah, but anyways, so I had one of those like little like pen things that you smoke out of. It wasn't a wax pen, but it was like the pure whatever oil. I don't know. If you smoke, you know, but it's like the pure something oil that you smoke out of like the cartridges. And I guess it's a little more concentrated or like stronger than regular weed. So I was just smoking that in my room because I didn't want it to like smell or whatever. So I was smoking that and like I kept smoking it. I don't know why. Like I guess I wasn't feeling it and I just kept doing it faster and faster. And I just like literally smoked out of it like 5 times in a row without even like thinking about it, because I sometimes am a little stupid and like forget that sometimes things take a quick sec to like hit you. And I think I talked about this in my other edibles story, which I'll link in the description. But basically, I had that feeling that I described before that you get when you like, you know that the like terrible high is coming and there's literally nothing you can do about it. So you just have to sit there and be like, fuck. So like, I don't know how I best described it is like you're sitting there zoned out 1 second and then you like turn your head and you're like, and then it like hits you and you're like high as fuck. Basically that, and like also I like kind of felt it coming and I was like, fuck, like this is gonna suck. I know I'm about to freak out. There's literally nothing I can do. I'm just gonna try to go to bed. And I think I said this in my other video, when I get really high, like my body violently like shakes. And it's just like a physical thing. Like I can't stop shaking, and I'm sure other people do that too. Anyways, I was like trying to go to sleep, and I remember I was watching TV and like everything started like spinning and like my room just looked distorted, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to go to sleep, and I'm like literally shaking so hard, and I was like, oh, this is not gonna work, and my mind's like wandering, like I'm freaking out, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, the TV is like spinning and like the whole room's like spinning, and I'm like, fuck. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try to sleep. I like kept trying, literally was not happening. My body, my mind, myself, not having it. So I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to wake my mom. And I was hoping my dad wouldn't be in there too, because sometimes my mom snores and then he sleeps in the guest room. So I guess lucky for me, it was a snory night for her. But I was like, fuck. So I went into a room and I like I woke her up and I was like, Mom, I'm gonna be real honest. I smoked too much weed, I'm really high, and I need your help. And she's like confused as fuck, because it's like the middle of the night. She's like, what? What are you talking? Like, what? I was like, help. And like eventually she wakes up and helps me or whatever. She's like, what do you want me to do? And I'm like literally I have never sounded like a more insane person in my entire life. So I literally run out into the hall. She like slowly like gets up and follows me. I'm like freaking out. I start screaming. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like freaking out, like screaming. I don't know how no one else woke up, but they didn't. And I'm screaming. And then I start laughing. So I'm going back and forth between screaming and laughing, and I literally have never been more psychotic in my entire life. So I'm just standing there like screaming, like, I don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then I start cracking up, and like the way I remember it in my mind is like I'm laughing at how ridiculous I know that I'm being and how silly this is gonna be tomorrow, that I'm like screaming over literally nothing. And I think that's super funny. So I like keep screaming, laughing, because then I like laugh and I'm like, this is so silly, and I'm like, no, wait, like I'm gonna die. And then I start freaking out again. So I'm like screaming, laughing like a crazy person, and I'm like running around the hallway. Eventually we go back into her room and she's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, I don't know, like help. I'm like freaking out, like, and like I have this thing in my mind that I'm always like, you're just on drugs, you're fine. Like, and I just say that in my mind over and over and over again. But like, I still am like, what's drugs? What's life? Like, who, what, when, where, what year is it? Anyways, yeah. So, okay. So then we're in her room and I'm like, what can I do? And then I don't know why in my high state of mind, this song comes to me. It's a 1975 song and I think it's The City, or is that what it's called? I think it's called The City. Yeah. The City. Okay. Sorry. It's been a while since I've listened to the album, but I was very into them, but that's a different story. Okay, anyways, The City. And there's this line in it that's like, get in the shower if it all goes wrong. And I remember looking at like the lyrics analyzed on like Genius or whatever, and it was saying like, that's a thing. Like if you're on drugs, if you're like too drunk or whatever, you're supposed to sit in the shower. And that's the only thing that was coming to my mind. So I was like, all right, like, I was like, I have to go in the shower. And my mom's like, what the fuck? And I literally stripped down completely naked in front of her, go into her shower, and I'm just like sitting on the floor like, and I'm like so high. And then I'm like, Mom, like I'm sitting in the shower, right? I'm like, Mom, like I need water. And she's like, what? Like, okay. She's like, so like, she's like trying to help me, but I think she's just like tired and confused. Like eventually she gets with it or whatever. And I'm like sitting in the shower naked. And I'm like, Mom, I need water. And she's like, okay. And I remember her walking to her feet and I was like, Mom. And she's like, what? And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, getting you water. And I was like, don't leave me. And she's like, what the fuck? I'm literally insane. I'm so sorry. And then I was like, I need water. And she's like, well, I don't want to leave you. And then we just like kind of went back and forth for a little bit. And eventually I was like fine for like 2 seconds. And then she left. It was rough. I got my water, came out of the shower. And then I think I just changed and like laid with her in bed at this point. And she's like trying to like warm me up. She's like, oh, you're so cold, like you're shaking. And I was like, no, like I'm not cold. I'm just like violently shaking. Like, I don't know. So after that, I pretty much tried to sleep after like shaking a lot. And eventually I was able to fall asleep. And I would periodically wake up like every hour a little bit less high. And then till the point where it was like 6 a.m. And then I woke up and I was like, okay, I'm like fine, I think. So I like went back to my room and like went to sleep for like another hour or two before I had to get up for school. And then I woke up and I was like fine or whatever. And my mom comes into my room and she's like, hey. And I was like, I'm so embarrassed. I was like, hi. She's like, how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm fine, like sorry. Yeah, it was a fucking mess. And then we never talked about it again. So that was fun. Yeah, so that's my story of why I stopped smoking weed. And the last time, that was like the last time for me, the last straw. It was like, I've never been more of an insane person in my life. So that was fun. Don't do drugs, kids. Yeah. Okay, so something I personally wonder is like, how different people's bodies react to weed, because I just feel like my body doesn't react to it well, and I don't know if other people's bodies like react differently in their minds, or we react the same way and they just like it or they just handle it better. And I don't know, like I wonder if people get as high as me smoking the same amount and they just handle it better, or like their body like consumes different amounts differently. Like, I don't know, it's just interesting to think about like if we actually do feel the same, like me and someone else who enjoys smoking weed, or we feel completely different. And I guess there's no way we can really know. So that is my story. I think I have another edible story, and I probably have other smoking stories, so if you want those, you should give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for new videos every Tuesday. I love my new camera. It autofocuses. I'm so happy. Don't do drugs. It's fine.
I am running.